Hi guys and welcome to I Love Indies Indie Games of the Week. Coming up this week we have a game about a mischievous cardboard cloud, a supernatural point and click comedy adventure, a limbo-esque 2D puzzle platformer and a lovely relaxing interactive story about a writer returning to his childhood home. To make sure you never miss a video, please subscribe to the I Love Indies channel and also follow us on Twitter. Please stay with us to the end of the video to catch this week's hidden gems and also our indie game of the week. So, without further ado, let's get this show started. I do love a challenging indie game, but I may just have met my match this week with Godstrike, a gorgeous top-down bullet hell shooter reminiscent of the game maker's neon synth Fury. Like that game, you face off in a series of 1v1 boss fights, each more challenging than the last. It's not just the overpowered huge bosses you've got to contend with here, but time is also an enemy. Your health bar depletes as time passes, which makes fights tense, yet often quite exhilarating. Defeating a boss really does bring with it a sense of achievement. This game is definitely going to be quite divisive. Some will love the difficulty, others will despise it. I still feel this one is definitely worth a look. Check it out now on the Nintendo Switch and also the PC via Steam. And now for surely the most original and creative indie of the week. If you're the sort of person that gets enjoyment out of other people's misery, or Schadenfreude as the Germans call it, then Rain on Your Parade is definitely a game to check out. You play as a cardboard cloud with the ability to ruin everyone's day. Use the cloud's 4 abilities, rain, tornado, snow and lightning, to wreak havoc on weddings, schools, offices. You can corrode cars with acid rain, clog up chimneys and face off against your arch enemy, Dr. Dryspell. Rain on Your Parade's 50 levels are super creative and feature nods to TV shows and other video games such as Metal Gear Solid and The Legend of Zelda. If you enjoy a bit of slapstick comedy and like the idea of playing as a mischievous cloud, pick up Rain on Your Parade now on Steam, the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One. Developed and published by the appropriately titled Spooky Doorway, The Darkside Detective, A Fumble in the Dark is a sequel to the hit point-and-click adventure The Darkside Detective. Like the first game, A Fumble in the Dark takes place in the fictional city of Twin Lakes, the 34th most haunted city in America, so we're told. You play as Detective McQueen and work for the police department's Darkside division, who investigate paranormal activity. Alongside your partner, Officer Dooley, you solve puzzles in 6 bizarre standalone cases. This time around you will visit a carnival, a local retirement home and even Ireland to keep the supernatural at bay. With some great pixel art, music by Thomas O'Boyle and laugh out loud humour, The Darkside Detective, A Fumble in the Dark is not to be missed. Originally titled Senders, Ashwalkers is a narrative survival game by a studio which features one of the developers from the Life is Strange series. In this game, you take control of 4 survivors called the Squad and have to keep them alive in a post-apocalyptic landscape ravaged by a volcanic disaster. Supplies will need to be rationed, shelters sought and resources harvested. You'll also need to keep a close eye on the mental state of your group, as succumbing to madness is all too easy in this world. With a branching choose-your-own-adventure style narrative and 34 different endings, Ashwalkers has plenty of replay value. After a long time in development, the game is finally out this week on the PC via Steam. Our hidden gem of the week is Rogue Sentry, a 1-bit pixel art twin-stick shooter, where you play as a sentry droid that turns rogue to save humanity. You navigate your way through a large map in pursuit of human prisoners. Once saved, they aid you in your quest to reverse the apocalypse. For a small indie game created by a single person, Maple Dev, Rogue Sentry is an impressive achievement with a high level of polish. Gameplay is super satisfying and feels much like the classic roguelike Monolith. You move from screen to screen defeating enemies, opening locked doors and collecting items. It's not an easy game and you'll die often, but luckily a save station is never too far away, which makes replaying screens more of a learning experience than a chore. I loved everything about Rogue Sentry, from the Commodore 64 inspired chiptune soundtrack to the wonderful monochrome aesthetic which reminded me a lot of Minute. The game is pretty short, about 2 hours long, but features multiple endings, so there's reason to play through this one again. Check it out now on the PC via Steam and itch.io. Our second hidden gem of the week is Soulbound, a Metroidvania platformer which is also created by a solo developer. Soulbound looks and plays a lot like Playdead's Limbo, but adds unique time manipulation mechanics, which reminded me a little bit of the Prince of Persia Sands of Time and Braid. If you're on the lookout for a new Metroidvania, or you like puzzle platformers, you'll find this one on the Steam store now. Next up we have Tanuki Justice, which looks and plays a lot like a lost platformer from the late 1980s or early 1990s. It's a challenging run and gun side-scroller set in feudal Japan. You play as a Tanuki ninja. A Tanuki, by the way, is a raccoon dog in Japan. If you're the sort of person that yearns for the old school pick up and play days of the NES era and you like games such as Ninja Gaiden and Gunstar Heroes, well, Tanuki Justice is an easy recommendation. It's out now on the PC via Steam and the Nintendo Switch. Developed by Frostwood Interactive and published by Dino Digital, both based in India, this week's Game of the Week is a cosy narrative about a man searching for inspiration. In Forgotten Fields, you play as Sid, a writer struggling to replicate the success of his first novel. At the start of the game, you receive a letter from your mother inviting you to visit the family home one final time before it's sold. Despite a looming work deadline, you accept, and your return to the past helps kickstart your creativity in the present. The game is best described as an interactive story, told from a mostly third-person perspective. You meet and talk to other characters, choose dialogue responses, and complete search and fetch quests. Playing Forgotten Fields is a super relaxing experience. The story is believable and well told. Unfortunately, there's no voice acting to accompany the many dialogue boxes in the game. However, this doesn't detract from the experience. The music is rather sublime, with songs by Oregon-based Altador accompanying cinematic transition scenes as you move location on your scooter. Forgotten Fields is a little rough around the edges with a few bugs and collision detection issues, but overall I found it a really memorable experience. If you fancy a short adventure with a great story, head over to the Steam store on PC for this one now. And that's it for another week. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the I Love Indies channel and also follow us on Twitter. I'll leave you with another intriguing narrative adventure, this time about a hitchhiker trying to solve the mystery of their past. After being on Apple Arcade for about a month, this week saw the release of HitchHiker, a mystery game, on PC and all major consoles. Until next time guys, keep loving indies.
Memory is a slippery thing. Think about when somebody asks you about this ride later, and your brain will flash back for a second when you say this. And it'll show you a frozen snapshot of yourself sitting in this car talking to me like we are right now.
These were things I remembered from clues I found along the highway.
There's a price to be paid for everything on this highway. Come on. Time to be forgiven. And time to hit the road.